This is how I found out my husband is seeing an underage girl. Disclaimer is not my story time, it's gonna be on Instagram. I'm a 25-year-old woman. When I first met my husband, I was 16 years old. I now realize how much he groomed me. I was 16, I decided to sign up for my local gym. As soon as I walked in, my husband saw me and tried to get me to sign up. He was one of the personal trainers at the gym. Now, here's the thing. I was a 16-year-old girl. Not a lot of boys had paid attention to me up until that point. I was overweight in high school and I got constantly made fun of. I even had a bully that called me tubby in front of the entire class. As you can imagine, when I signed up for the gym, I was determined to lose weight. So when I met him at the gym that day, I instantly started liking him. He was extremely handsome. He had a chiseled face and was in incredibly good shape, as you can imagine. And he was really sweet to me. When we first met, he was 22 years old. He became my personal trainer, and after a few weeks of training, he started calling me sweet names. He would say things like, "You're so beautiful, making such great progress, I'm so proud of you." And eventually he started calling me princess. And it worked because I was falling in love. Part 2 is up. This is how I found out my husband was dating an underage girl. Disclaimer is not my story time, it's gonna be on Instagram. At the time I didn't realize it, but he was grooming me. I was 16 and he was 22. The more weight I began to lose, the more affectionate he would become. Mind you, he's my trainer. Trusted everything he was doing. Like I said in part 1, I was already falling in love with him. By the time I had lost 30 pounds, I was completely head over heels for him. And at this point, he started buying me flowers and chocolates. Would find reasons to give me a gift all the time. When he asked me out to go to dinner, he said that he wanted to congratulate me for the hard work that I'd been doing. Of course, I didn't go home and tell my parents that my personal trainer had invited me to dinner. Went to dinner with him, and after that, we were together every single day. He asked me to be his girlfriend and I said yes. We quickly began to do everything a boyfriend and girlfriend do. When I turned 18, we decided to tell my parents about the relationship. My parents were furious. They only knew him as my personal trainer. My dad instantly forbade the relationship, but we still ended up getting married when I was 19. That's when my personal hell began. I started catching him cheating all the time. It's like he almost didn't care that I would find out. He was always texting other girls. None of them were underage. And he always promised that he would do better, so I stayed with him. Till I found out he liked children. Part 3 is I had caught him cheating 5 times at this point. I know what you're telling yourself, how stupid could I be to stay with a man like that? But I was just so attracted and so in love with him, I couldn't leave him. But then the worst thing happened. Decided to put him to the test. Told him I was going out of town to visit a friend and he believed me. But do you think I really did? No. I got a hotel room. Later that night, I went back to my house. Looked through the window and I see my husband sitting on our couch with what I thought was a woman. I unlocked the door and burst in furious. The woman turns back to look at me. And that's when I see a child. A 12-year-old child. I honestly didn't automatically assume anything wrong. I ask him, "What is this little girl doing here?" That's when the little girl looks at me and tells me he's my boyfriend. My knees began to tremble. At this point, all the memories of him and I meeting come back to me. I began to realize how he groomed me and that this little girl was there for you know what. I didn't even hesitate. Took the little girl up to my bedroom and locked the door. Called the police and they arrived fast. On his phone, they had found 14 different conversations with underage girls. One of them being my own cousin. Did I make a story time about that? Anyway, he's in jail now.
Am I the asshole for refusing to shoot nude for my brother anymore? I, 18 female, have a brother, 19 male, who's a cinephile. He's had a camera in his hand since the ripe age of 6, and we've always been doing shoots together, indoors and outdoors. Recently, he had a project for his film school and asked if I could shoot for him and kept insisting. I said yes, and he wanted it to be 15 minutes long. After we finished the scenes outside, our parents were on a work stay, so we had the free house to do the shooting. It was a scene where early in the morning, I wake up, make coffee, sit on my balcony, and smoke. Before the scene, he said he wanted a sense of authenticity, realism, and intimacy in the scene. Am I the asshole for refusing to shoot nude for my brother anymore? I asked, "What do you mean?" He said, "I sleep naked and it feels like a love letter to life." I said, "So you want me to be naked in the short film, then show all your fellow classmates?" He told me that that's film and it's not weird as I am your brother, but not fully naked, just topless, and you can wear undies. Long story short, I told myself it wasn't that big of a deal, so I said, "I'll do it." He got it on the first try and everything was great until I took a nap and woke up. I then understood the gravity of what I had done. I asked him to delete it, but he already submitted it. Embarrassed and sickened, I said I won't shoot for him again. Am I the asshole for refusing to go out with my sister when I'm a guest at her house? So my sister gave birth a month and a half ago. I went over to help her with the baby and the house chores since her husband couldn't take a leave from work. The problem is my sister is an extremely outgoing person and loves going places and trying new things. Me, on the other hand, I'm burnt out and all I'm thinking about for an outing is how I'll be carrying the stroller across the long metro stairs. Also, the baby needing a diaper change and running to the nearest toilet, heavy traffic, and loud noises. In short, I see it as stress and a chore, not something I do out of enjoyment. For several days now, I've been holed up in my room and refusing to go with her while she goes alone. Am I the asshole for refusing to go out with my sister when I'm a guest at her house? Today she told me we'll just go to the nearest park and it's unhealthy for me to stay cooped up in the house. I declined again and she became upset. She said she wasn't even in the mood to go out anymore and asked why I was even over if all I wanted to do was stay home. She said she was depressed and I'm making her feel worse, but I told her she could go by herself and leave the baby with me. She then said that defeats the point of having company. She grumbled about no one caring about her and went into the bedroom and shut the door. Maybe I should have sucked it up and went with her, but I don't know why she insists on me going too when I'm exhausted.
Am I wrong for sharing my son's teacher's Instagram account with the other parents? My son is 4 and this is his first year in preschool. His teacher is called Mary and she's roughly in her early 30s if that matters. We first met her on Monday when dropping him off and I didn't get the best vibes from her, so I looked her up on social media. She posts provocative photos and is very active politically, going to marches and events and stuff like that. The vibes were already far from immaculate, but what I saw made me dislike her even more. I talked it over with my wife and we decided to ask some of the other parents what they thought of her. We reached out to them and created a WhatsApp group where we started talking and I shared her account there. It wasn't well received from most parents either, mostly because of the provocative photos. Nothing happened for a couple of days, but a fellow parent kept tracking her account and she saw that she had uploaded a selfie with 3 of her students on Thursday. The parents were furious about that and they went to the district supervisor first thing Friday morning. Since I was the one who started the group, he called me to confirm and hear my side of the story, and he asked me if I could come to his office in the evening. I did. She was there along with a few other parents and we all started talking and trying to explain the issue. Voices were raised and at one point she started accusing me of stalking her and then sharing her account to perv on her with other dads. I was like, lady, I was just trying to see what kind of person is going to be teaching my son, but she wasn't having any of it and kept arguing. Things escalated even more and the other parents demanded that she be removed from the class. I didn't outright concur to join with them, but I didn't object either. The supervisor ordered her to take down the photos along with any she had uploaded from her previous students, but he hadn't reached a conclusion. Rumor has it that he's considering placing her in another school because the year just started, but we'll find out Monday, I suppose. Anyways, was I the asshole here? Should I just keep my worries to myself? There's an edit. I can't respond to everyone, so I'll respond here. Yes, the 3 kids' faces were visible. Their parents were among those of us who were present in the supervisor's office yesterday. 2. I wasn't the one who found the pictures, neither those of the 3 kids nor those of previous students. Provocative meaning thirst traps. If that's giving me pause for someone's credibility as a teacher makes me an asshole, then I guess I'm an asshole. 4. She's participating in a far-right party's event. I don't really vote or care about politics. I just don't like that particular party. I don't even live in the US.
Am I the asshole for telling my brother off when he berated my daughter for not changing her cousin's diaper? I moved in with my brother after my divorce 3 months ago and brought my 18-year-old daughter with me. My brother and his girlfriend have a 9-month-old daughter, my niece. This past Friday, my brother's girlfriend was on his shift and my brother was in a work-from-home meeting. I was out of the house. He was watching the baby on the nanny cam and apparently she needed a diaper change because he was so busy. He texted my daughter asking if she'd go in and quickly change her cousin's diaper, but she refused. She told me that 1, she doesn't feel comfortable around babies, and 2, she was already late for her friend's birthday party. My brother insisted, but she refused. Am I the asshole for telling my brother off when he berated my daughter for not changing her cousin's diaper? My brother insisted, but she refused, and he had to cut the meeting and got kicked out of it. I got home and there was a huge argument. I found my brother berating my daughter for not helping with her baby cousin. My daughter was crying, so I told my brother off and said that his daughter is his and his girlfriend's responsibility, and he shouldn't rely on my daughter for her care. He explained that it was just a one-time favor and how he's been very supportive of us since I divorced my ex. I said that's not an excuse to force my daughter to do what she didn't feel comfortable with. His girlfriend called me an ungrateful asshole and told us we have 2 weeks to move out.
Am I wrong for leaking a notebook in which a person described everyone they slept with in detail? I, 19 female, live in university halls. Our student village halls are a house, each with 5 people, each having 1 single room, and 4 other flatmates, one of whom is Sierra, also 19 female. Each of us have our own room, and we have a communal kitchen with kind of a living room area inside the kitchen. It's exam season, and after that, we are done with our year and we are moving out. All year, Sierra has been a party girl. I am not judging, it's totally normal to All year, Sierra has been a party girl. I am not judging. It's totally normal to party in your first year, and legal drinking age is 18 where I am. I will be lying if I said I didn't party. And she's been experimenting a lot with her sexuality. Again, no judgment. But she's also been very vocal about having a notebook in which she writes down every one-night stand or sexual encounter she had and how she was planning to make it into a book after she graduates. She told a lot of people that she writes down names, body details, and details of encounter. Everyone pretty much ignores her when she's talking about it because we just find it cringy. Well, the other day I was home alone and I went into the kitchen to grab myself a cup of coffee and I noticed a notebook on the table. It looked like one of mine and I was studying in the kitchen a night before, so I grabbed it thinking that I must have left it. Oh boy, was I wrong. Turns out it was Sierra's infamous notebook. It was a train wreck. I know I should have stopped reading, but I couldn't put it down. It was so much worse than anyone thought. It was details of every encounter with scores and disparaging comments about people she slept with. She was rating their bodies, commenting on their skills, smells, etc. Every single detail about the encounter, comparing them to others, and etc. I took photos of every single page and left the notebook where it was, and I didn't mention it. I edited some photos to remove names and posted it anonymously to Facebook group we shared with some people. It blew up all over the campus and Sierra got a lot of hate for this. Well, she ended up figuring out who it was that leaked it and she blew up at me, calling me a bunch of names, threatening me with legal action, etc. And she reported me for bullying to university authorities. Now in the aftermath of her figuring it out, I'm still sitting here wondering if I was really the asshole for posting photos of her notebook. So am I wrong for making it public?
I, female 26, was invited to my sister's 18th birthday a few days ago at a restaurant. My husband didn't come because he said he had a meeting dinner with some clients. This made my family feel let down, especially my sister who wanted him there, and also her 18th birthday is a big deal to her obviously. To my surprise, when I arrived I noticed that my husband was having his meeting at the same place. His table was right in the corner and he had about 4 men sitting with him. My parents and the guests saw him as well. I waved for him and he saw me but ignored me. He obviously was as surprised as I was. My parents asked why he didn't even come to the table to acknowledge them after the cake arrived. I got up and walked to his table. I stood there and said, "Excuse me." My husband was silent when I asked. After I introduced myself to his clients, if he'd take a few minutes to join me and the family in the candle blowing and say happy birthday, but he barely let out a phrase and said, "I don't think so. I'm busy right now." I insisted, saying it'd just take a couple minutes and that it'd mean so much to my sister. He stared at me and then awkwardly stared back at his clients. They said nothing and he got up after my parents were motioning me to hurry up. He sat with us while my sister blew the candles and cut the cake. My parents insisted that he takes a piece and join us in a selfie, but he got up and walked back to his table looking pissed. We didn't talk until we met later at home. He was upset and started scolding me in front of my parents, saying I embarrassed him and made him look unprofessional and ruined his business meeting. I told him that he overreacted since it only took a few minutes and it was my sister's birthday and my family wanted him to join since he was literally at the same restaurant. He called me ignorant and accused me of tampering with his work, but I responded that ignoring mine and my family's presence was unacceptable. We argued and then he started stonewalling me and refusing to talk to me at all. Also, it literally only took 5 to 7 minutes. He didn't even eat or drink, just sat down and watched. So, am I in the wrong for asking my husband to join us at my sister's birthday since he was in the same restaurant?